A reading of the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. Jesus came from Galilee to John at the Jordan to be baptized by him. John tried to prevent him, saying, "I need to be baptized by you, and yet you come to me?" Jesus answered, "Allow it for now, for it is thus unfitting for us to fulfill all righteousness." Then he allowed him. After Jesus was baptized, he came up from the water, and behold, the heavens were opened for him, and he saw the Spirit of God descending like a dove and coming upon him. And a voice from heaven said, "You are my beloved Son, with you I am well pleased." The Gospel of the Lord. You are the Son whom I love, and I am delighted in you. I'm proud of you. Do you know what that does to a child to hear the voice of parent? First of all, you are the one I love, and I am so delighted. I'm so proud. I would have to say that dealing with the behavior of so many people, they never heard those words. And they certainly never experienced that relationship from God that comes from being adopted as his beloved. Why do we have so many fractured lives? Why do we have so much evil and debilitation going on? And so, you think of that. We're built for that. Our souls crave to be loved. I can't say that enough. And yet we live in this kind of mercantile world where we're looking for love in all the wrong places. We're on the fast track. We're doing this. We're consuming that. And yet we're looking for this love that escapes us because what we look for is never enough. That's why we're so busy trying to find that which we were created for in our baptism. I always think of Father Richard Rohr, a Franciscan, going to Africa. And he said, I went to a tribal people in Africa, and I met this young, strapping young man, young African teenager. And I asked him, what do you want to be when you grow up? And he said, what a dumb American question. What do you want to be when you grow up? And the kid just looked at him. And he said, I just want to continue to walk in the energy of my Father. Oh, wow. See, why is there so much brokenness in our world, especially among men with each other, the fighting, the debilitation? I think it's almost like they never got what we all crave and need. And so I thought today, since it's our baptism feast, that we're children of God, that I would talk a little bit about the baptism and the symbols of baptism. And so I just a couple weeks ago baptized some kids, and twice in the last year I have baptized children here in the parish, little children, whose dads I baptized 34 and 36 years ago. Yeah, makes you feel old. So the symbols of baptism, the things that we use, first is water. And when I have kids here, and I ask the little kids at the baptism, they're here for the baptism, kids, tell me about water. What would happen if you never had anything else to drink? And then the kids would say, you get sick. And then what would happen? Then you die. So adults, water gives life. Yeah. What would we do without water? First symbol of baptism. Second, oil. One of the three oils in the Aubrey over there, there's three oils. The oil of baptism is the oil called sacred chrism. It is used when you are baptized. It is used also when you are confirmed, yes. Most people say when your last rites. No, that's a different oil. There's three oils. Oil of catechumens. If there's anybody here who's getting baptized at Easter, you will be anointed with the oil, because a catechumen is someone preparing for baptism. And then the third oil is the oil of the sick. So when you need healing, we use that oil. Okay. So oil. In the time of Jesus, People were not elected or voted, they were anointed. So the prayer at baptism with the baby, the child, as Jesus Christ is anointed priest, prophet, and king. There's a third sacrament where chrism is used. There's only 7 sacraments. Take a guess. Huh? Holy orders. So Father Matthew and I, Father Fong, we had the bishop anoint our hands with the sacred chrism. So twice for most of you, 3 times for me. Okay. I hope it works, you know. Okay, oil. Third symbol, clothes. Now I get in trouble with this. Oh. The way people dress nowadays says everything about how they feel about themselves and what they're doing. When I worked for the airlines years ago, people dressed up to fly. In fact, as an employee, if I was going on a pass, we had to wear a tie. We had to look the part, and people dressed up. I was looking at pictures of my mother taking us on the train from San Diego to Chicago. My mother was in a skirt. Even when we were kids, the nuns, because we all went to Catholic school, the nuns wrote the families a letter at the beginning of the year. If you're coming up to school, do not wear slacks. Yeah? That's the way, in the 50s, you see, in the 50s. Nowadays, at church, I got so much in trouble when I say, you know, wear something appropriate to what you're doing. Don't look like you're going to a picnic. Oh, people get so upset. When I first went to St. Felicitas 32 years ago, the ministers giving out communion, or giving out our Lord, they were dressed like they were just, I don't know. Come on, you're going to be giving out Jesus. That's the King of Kings. Don't dress like you're going to the gym or whatever. And I had this one young woman. She just bolted right up from her seat. It was all the ministers of the Eucharist and the lectors. And she said, I dress up 5 days a week when I go to work. I'm not dressing up on Sunday. And I said, I think you have your gods mixed up. You dress up for your boss at work, and you can't dress up to be giving communion, our Lord Jesus. Never saw her again, sadly. No, sadly. So clothes, you see, it makes a statement about how you feel about yourself. So you're not drawing too much attention to yourself, but also a modesty, and you're pointing to somebody else. Father Matthew and I, Father Fong, we all wear clothes that are strongly symbolic of who we are, see. And I remember years ago when I was a brand new priest and I had dressed up for corporate life, I wanted to wear the collar. And in those days, 40 years ago, priests, they didn't wear their collar. A lot of them, and they say, what are you doing wearing that thing for? Who do you think you are? Nowadays, all the priests wear their collars. But you see, I think even the tragedy of the sisters, the Catholic nuns, got rid of their habits, thinking that women would join. They're dying out. And the orders that are getting vocations are in the traditional habit, making a strong statement, this is who I am. This is who I am. And I don't mean it got to look like a class act, but I want to say, you look like modesty. Yeah, you're not showing off. Oh, we'll be okay. We'll be okay. Okay, clothing. The last symbol. Anybody have a guess? Light, the candle. So at the Holy Year 2000, 26 years ago, in fact, I was at the closing Mass with Pope John Paul, St. John Paul, January 6th, the year 2000. We were outside in pouring rain. But that year in my parish in San Leandro, we were going to celebrate everybody's baptism. So I said to everybody, you can look up when you were baptized, get the date. And so once a month, we'd say, all those baptized in January, stand up, and I got a baptism candle for everybody. And we gave them their baptism candle. So we did it through the whole month. Because light. We live in a very dark world. We're going to do baptism promises today instead of the creed, okay? And one of them says, do you say no to the prince of lies? You see, the devil is a prince of lies. So when you live and believe in lies, you're doing the work of the devil. And sometimes you're blinded. I'm in darkness because I'm so proud. I'm so arrogant. I'm so needy. I'm so jealous. I'm so envious. And so those sins that we have are the darknesses and the light. There's a beautiful prayer when we give the godparents the candle. May you receive the light of Christ, and may this light guide you through the darkness of our days. The dark times, huh? You hold on. You hold on tightly to the Lord in the dark times when maybe things don't seem to be going right, or you're not sure how you can handle the pain, or maybe there's a fracture in the family, or maybe there's adult kids who've wandered off into another lifestyle, and you don't know how to handle it, you can't fix it, and you put it in the hands of God, because you know God can handle it. In the hands of God. I tell that to parents all the time. In the hands of God. Just give it to God, and He will take care of it, and then let it go. The hands of God. That's faith. That's the light of faith, you see. And I go back to that first Jesus. Imagine how He felt. I'm your beloved Son, and you're proud of me? I can do this. And then what happens? What are we going to see in a few weeks? What happened with Jesus? The devil. The devil came, didn't he? Lent. If you worship me, I will give you the entire kingdom of the world. If you turn these stones into bread and worship me. And Jesus listened, because I think Jesus knew what was going to happen. He listened. But then finally, by the grace of God, maybe he can remember, I'm your beloved Son. And so he's, get away from me, devil, get away, get away. My dearest people, we need more than ever right now in our world, we need to feel how beloved we are. When you know that you are loved, you don't have to prove anything to anybody. You don't. When you know you're loved, you have nothing to prove to anyone about yourself. And you don't have to put other people down in order to make yourself look good. See? And you have to pray for that, because the world is out there to take it away. The world is out there to rob you of feeling beloved and peaceful. Okay. All right. So now, we're going to